this episode of Beyond the Boundary powered by Alista, I spoke to South Africa's under-19 coach Dinesha Devnarain. She told us everything from coach's perspective, so do listen to the conversation.
स्मार्ट हो रहा है इंडिया, जैसे इंडिया में बना एलिस्टा स्मार्ट एलईडी टीवी विद वर्ल्ड क्लास क्लैरिटी एंड अमेजिंग फीचर्स.
So let's first get started with the first question that I have for you. It's tell me how big this inaugural edition of the Under-19 World Cup is going to be for women's cricket.
Yeah, I think that's a very good question to start off with. I mean, it's massive. We always talk about pipeline cricket in women's cricket. And to have an inaugural Under-19 tournament, I can only hope that will be our feeder system to our national squads, and that the volume of players, quality players, start coming through and getting exposure at this age to play in World Cups and understand what pressure means, that big match temperament, and taking that into obviously your semi-professional cricketer and your provincial structures, and hopefully playing for the Proteas. I can only talk about the growth that it will do for the game around the world, across the globe. And I'm hoping that investments come with this. I hope that the women's game is respected a lot more. And I'm actually excited to see where this goes in the next 3 to 4 years. But I think the whole domain of the game and the landscape of the game is definitely going to change. I think performance benchmarks are going to change. In the next 5 years, it'll be interesting to see where women's cricket is. And I think it's going to be very, very competitive. And at the moment, it already is.
Definitely, we're all excited to see how it goes. You did talk about the entire process just now, but Dinesha, you've worked very closely with the under-19 team and the National Academy as well. So how has been your assessment of how the players have grown over the period of time?
Yeah, I think I'm the type of coach that likes to put things into perspective. I'm very process driven. So I just like to see where we started and where we'd end off, and then that we don't forget each step as we go along. So I'm definitely the coach that's very honest, and sometimes not many girls like the honesty that comes with that. But I just say, when you want to play professional sport, the better that we can accept honesty, the better we can take accountability and responsibility for our game. So obviously that's a lot new for the under-19s. I mean, they just know how to play probably school cricket and go back home. So they're not used to KPI meetings. They're not used to just having performance benchmarks in place. But I must say that the whole system that I work with, the high performance women in South Africa, they've taken really good to that type of brand of cricket that we want to play. And we have developed something over the last 6 months, and I'm hoping the fruits of that shows in the next 2 to 3 years. And it's just an upliftment of where we want to be as a country, and where we want to see women's cricket go. So I would like to say, yes, that the girls did grow on and off the field, which is very important for me as a coach. And then, we look to obviously attain those benchmarks and look to push it further from there on.
And how has been your experience working with this under-19 team? I'm asking this specifically because, they're all young players. They are going to represent their country at the biggest stage in a few days' time. And with this age of social media, where everything is out there, where people are just, having their eyes on the players, tweeting about them, we're all waiting to see updates about them. So how is it to manage all these young players and tell them how important it is to focus on cricket and let go of something that's not needed?
Yeah, I think that's what we're doing now at the moment. So I saw them for short periods of time, so 2 weeks, 3 weeks, but now we've got a long period to go. And we spoke about the pressure of being at a World Cup. We sat in a circle and we discussed our feelings and our emotions. And I think it's really important to be vulnerable at that point and to understand that this is what I'm feeling. And I think the surprising thing is that people thought they were feeling this in isolation, where everyone spoke up and said, I also kind of feel the same thing. But I think dealing with the younger girls, there is a lot of emotion involved in it. They're not as strong as your professional women athletes. And when I say that, that's about having the honest conversations. And, it's very difficult for them when they do something bad, is that how do they get that bounce back ability to make sure that it doesn't happen the next day. But I think we're in the process of working something through, and, we're guided by a culture document where it's governed by the the way we want to operate on and off the field. And I think that helps the girls a lot. But the one thing I won't take away from this group, this under 19 group, is that they reminded myself as a coach, as at the end of the day, it's a game of cricket that we love, and we all get together. And when I see them in the nets and on the field, it just reminds me, obviously, when I was a player and the reason why I got into coaching. Sometimes now as coaches, a lot of us measure our success by a result. It's either we win or lose, and that makes us successful or not. And I think these girls reminded me it's not about the result. It's about, at the end of the day, you want to make better people, on and off the field. So small things for me is like, when girls get their driver's license or they pass a maths exam that they never thought they would under my leadership. Like, for me, that's success. And, I'm really grateful for this group for just keeping me in check with that and letting me stay humbled and grounded, to know that there is more than life. And, the pressure of sport is not pressure in life. So yeah, it's a really good bunch of girls.
It's really interesting, and you did also mention about your playing days. Tell me, what is much more easier? Is it easier to be a coach or is it easier to be a player?
I think it's definitely much easier to be a player. Because
I must tell you that I've interviewed, you're the third coach that I'm interviewing. I've interviewed Nushin ma'am before, and then Devika Parshikar ma'am from India as well. And both of them told me that being a player is much more easier. What's your reason?
I think, obviously, when you're a player, you've got to focus on just your accountability. Yes, you're a team player, but for you to help the team, you've got to help yourself first. But when I say easy, I'm just saying in the sense of time management. Like now, being a coach, I wouldn't change it. I'll still choose being a coach any day. And the sole purpose is that I have the ability to influence people in a positive way. Whereas a player, I'd probably just get my peers or my closest friends in that way. But here, having a coach, you actually have a direct influence on someone's life and how they view life. And simple things of being kind, being humble, being grounded has nothing to do with cricket. But, it's those type of values that I want to instill in cricketers while you can still be, a force to be reckoned with on the field. So it's easier in terms of time management, playing wise. But if I had to choose between the two, regardless of age, I think I'll still go with coaching.
Yeah. And also, Nushin ma'am told me that, when you're a player, you can just know that you are responsible for something and you can go and change things out there. As a coach, you have to be very patient when things are going on the field. Just look at that. Thank you so much, Dinesha, for having this chat with us. Of course, we wish you and your team all the very best for this tournament, and we wish that you guys have a great time there.
No, thank you so much. I appreciate it.
स्मार्ट हो रहा है इंडिया, जैसे इंडिया में बना एलिस्टा स्मार्ट एलईडी टीवी with world class clarity and amazing features.